Super J and Mad Mike welcome you to another WrestleKave review. This time we're doing the Monday Night Raw from August 22nd, 2016, the night after SummerSlam 2016. Just kind of feel like a SummerSlam hangover this Monday. I mean, a lot of bad news coming throughout the day. We found out in the beginning of the day that the Dudley Boys were going to retire on Monday Night Raw, say their goodbyes. We also found out that Finn Balor actually got hurt in the SummerSlam Universal Championship match up at SummerSlam. And we found out that Finn Balor had a torn labrum in his shoulder and that he would require surgery and be out for at least 6 months or maybe more. So Finn Balor is out for the foreseeable future. We found out that he would have to relinquish the title just a half an hour before the show went live. When the show went live, Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon were in the ring. They called out Finn Balor. He was sporting that beautiful red, brand new Universal Championship. Tell us below in the comments what you guys think of the Universal title design and color. But Finn Balor came out, kept his head held high, and relinquished the WWE Universal Championship. Said he's going to get healed, and he's going to get healthy, and he's going to get right, his body and his mind right, and he's going to be back. And the first thing he's coming for is the Universal Championship. And it was definitely a sour note to begin Monday Night Raw. And Finn Balor was making his way back up the ramp after Mick Foley took the Universal Championship away. And Seth Rollins' music hits when Finn Balor gets up to the top of the stage. And Seth Rollins was just laughing on his way out to the ring, down the ramp, and was just staring Finn Balor down. Finn Balor was staring back and had just giving Seth Rollins the evil eye. I mean, Seth Rollins has injured several guys in the last year. Seth Rollins broke John Cena's nose with a vicious knee to the face last August on Monday Night Raw and almost killed John Cena. And then he fought Sting at Night of Champions last year in September and ended Sting's career with the same powerbomb that Finn Balor got hurt, except Sting got powerbombed into the turnbuckle with the buckle bomb from Seth Rollins. And then last night at SummerSlam, Seth Rollins gives him the running power bomb to Finn Balor, and Finn Balor dislocates his shoulder on the barricade on the ringside, and dislocates his shoulder, had to repop it back into place, and actually tore his labrum in his shoulder sometime in the match. Sometime in that move. And from what I understand, a torn labrum is torn cartilage around your socket of your shoulder, and he's going to be out after surgery for more than 6 months. Seth Rollins made his way down to the ring, being the usual dick that he usually is, saying that it's all meant to be, it's time to celebrate, don't get upset. He told Mick Foley to turn that frown upside down, and he's looking at the Universal Champion, Seth Rollins. And before you knew it, Sami Zayn came out. After that, Kevin Owens came out, Chris Jericho came out, Enzo and Big Cass. Also, Roman Reigns came out. All the guys in the ring said they wanted an opportunity at the Universal title. And Jericho and Owens were kind of, forming their tag team again there, taking up for each other, the Canadian superstars. But that was pretty funny. Anyway, they ended up saying, Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley ended up saying that there would be singles matches between all those men, and the winners would then go on to next Monday night's Raw on August 29th, and would then fight for the Universal Championship. We really didn't get any news about how exactly the match would be next week, what kind of match it would be, what would be the stipulations. We didn't find anything out. All we knew was that these guys were going to fight in singles matches, and whoever won would make it to next week. First match was Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn. And, both guys are great workers in the ring. Seth Rollins is scaring me a lot now. Whenever I see anybody that I like in the fucking ring with them, I'm pretty nervous now. I'm a big fan of Seth Rollins, but when he's injuring half the roster, it's pretty upsetting. And I hope they don't put the title back on fucking Seth Rollins now, because I don't think he deserves it after all these guys that he's, giving major injuries to. And anyway, Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins had a good matchup. Sami Zayn did a flip back off the rope and looked like he rolled his ankle. And I don't know if he was selling it the whole match, if it was a work or it was real. But Sami Zayn looked like the ref tried to stop him several times from continuing the matchup. Sami Zayn was even doing some modified moves without even using his ankle. So it looked to me like he was hurt. I guess we'll find out soon if he was really hurt or not. Let's hope not. But Seth Rollins ended up getting the win with a pedigree at the end. And Seth Rollins is moving on to next week to move on to the Universal Championship matchup next Monday night on Raw. After that, we ended up getting Kevin Owens came out, and Kevin Owens fought Neville in a great matchup. You know, I mean, anytime you see Neville in the ring, you know he's going to do some high flying, you know, acrobatic aerial fucking moves, man. You know, he's the man that gravity forgot, and that's a great name because he's not the biggest guy. Kind of looks like a Hobbit from one of the Lords of the Rings movies. My buddy Adam was talking like that the other day, and it's kind of true. But Neville's a great worker in the ring. I mean, he came up from NXT. He was NXT champion. He ended up getting hurt before WrestleMania. I thought he was going to get a push for the IC belt, but here he is on Monday Night Raw. He ended up getting a fight against Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens did end up beating him. Kevin Owens did got him up for like a spinning reverse TKO, which is like a reverse neck breaker off of the basically torture rack into a reverse neck breaker, and it was pretty cool. Kevin Owens ended up getting the win, but like I said, Neville ended up hitting all his aerial moves, the 450 off the side of the ring apron onto the floor. Did a lot of cool moves, but Kevin Owens is moving on next week to be in the same matchup with Seth Rollins and whoever else won their matches later on this Monday Night Raw. So, you know, with Finn Balor being out, it was definitely a sour note to start Raw, but we did end up getting some good wrestling on Raw tonight. But it was definitely just a terrible mood, just for me and just, I know, for the fans, because they pushed Finn Balor so hard in this last month, and it was cool to see him bring that Demon King gimmick out over the last few weeks and really bring it to SummerSlam and have a pretty good match. And he was injured for most of the time, you know what I mean? He ended up winning that first ever Universal Championship match, and it was just awesome. And then here we go on Monday. We wake up and it's like a nightmare. We end up finding out that Finn Balor's hurt, and as the day progressed, I guess his injury just, the pain just got worse and worse and worse. They ended up doing an MRI, and here we go. After that, we ended up getting a matchup with Big Cass and Rusev. And the winner of this matchup would also go on next week to fight for the Universal title. And Big Cass was just basically, you know, striking Rusev right in the damaged body parts where Roman Reigns beat up Rusev over the last week on Raw and SummerSlam. And Big Cass just basically just zoned in on Rusev's weak points here tonight on Raw. And after a certain point, Rusev had just had enough, and he walked back up the ramp and walked away from a chance at the Universal Championship matchup next week. And Big Cass won by disqualification. Kind of, you know, made Big Cass look shitty and made Rusev look shitty at the same time. But that's WWE booking for you. But what can you do? Big Cass moves on next week as, you know, definitely a surprise to fight for the Universal Championship against Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens and against one more man, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But after that, we ended up getting the Tag Team Champions came out, the New Day, and Big E was carrying out this giant bowl of Booty-O's, man. It was the biggest bowl of fucking cereal I've ever seen. It was hilarious with this giant soup spoon, and he was just scooping, you know, Booty-O's onto the fans, the cereal onto the fans, and it was pretty funny. I mean, the New Day, the longest reigning tag champs of you know, the last 25 years in the WWE, and what can you say about the New Day? Obviously, they're doing something right for a reason. You know, they've already got a cereal made after them. I know they're selling a shitload of merchandise. They've even got a new chocolate candy that's got Pop Rocks in it, I saw. It's called New Day Rocks candy. I saw that on Twitter yesterday. So, I mean, the New Day, how can you break them up when they're doing this well? So WWE, it doesn't look to be taking the tag titles off them anytime soon. But I'm picking the Revival to come out of nowhere at some point and jump onto this Raw roster and beat these boys, the New Day. Because, you know, I mean, the New Day have to lose him at some point, you know, so it might as well be against somebody good. But Gallows and Anderson came out with some brand new fucking black and yellow fucking club coats, looking fucking amazing. And Gallows and Anderson ended up coming in, talking shit to the New Day, how the New Day lost by disqualification yesterday, and Gallows and Anderson won, so they won another title shot. Carl Anderson ended up fighting Big E in a match. It was a quick match. Big E ended up getting him with that... forgot the name of Big E's finisher. Can't think of it right now. But the New Day ended up getting the victory. And, you know, there you go. New Day rocks. What else can you say? Titus O'Neil came out in just a filler segment and just a waste of time. Titus O'Neil came out talking shit about Darren Young, wanted him to come out, and then wanted Bob Backlund to come out. Just kept saying whatever he could about how old Bob Backlund was and just trying to make him look as bad as possible. Finally, Bob Backlund came out. Titus O'Neil ended up getting a crossface chicken wing from Bob Backlund. It looked terrible. Like I said, it was just a wasted segment. Darren Young ended up coming in, tried to help Bob Backlund, but ended up getting a finishing move from Titus O'Neil and the Clash of the Titus. And that was the end of that segment. Thank God it didn't last much longer. But Monday Night Raw tonight wasn't fucking spectacular. They ended up having to show a video of Brock Lesnar beating the shit out of Randy Orton last night at SummerSlam. If you've seen any other videos on the WrestleKave over the last couple days, you know that we're highly unhappy with what Brock Lesnar did to another superstar in Randy Orton, especially a 12-time champion. It's totally disgusting. Some people I know are totally Brock Lesnar fans, and I am too, but I don't want to see him kill anybody in the ring, and especially a WWE ring. I mean, this is not the UFC. I don't know what else to say. You know what I mean? After that, what was it? Sorry. After that, Charlotte come out, and, Charlotte, she's just a great WWE Women's Champion. She won the title back last night against Sasha Banks, last night at SummerSlam. And Charlotte came out with Dana Brooke, and Charlotte just came out, and she just reminds me so much of her dad. She's so good on that mic. She can wrestle so well. She's such a great athlete. I mean, she can do it all. She's really the alpha female in the WWE. And she was just talking about how Sasha Banks, is hurt now. She's got a back injury, and they don't know when she'll be back. And Charlotte said when she comes back, she'll lose again. And before you knew it, Mick Foley came out, and Charlotte said that she had beat everybody on the roster, and that she's got no respect for anybody else. And then Mick Foley came out. Mick Foley ended up talking about how it's hard for his job sometime as Raw general manager. Like, he had to deal with Finn Balor relinquishing the title, and that was hard on him. But to see another person debut in the same night and fulfill their dream was pretty cool for Mick Foley. And he said they had signed the newest free agent to Monday Night Raw, and Bayley came out, the NXT, pupil over the last few years. One of the original 4 horsewomen in NXT was Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and then Becky Lynch. And finally, Bayley got the call up. She fought at NXT against Asuka in a great match. Bayley ended up making her way up on Monday Night Raw tonight to boost that Raw women's division. And Bayley ended up wanting to challenge Charlotte, but Charlotte wasn't having it. She wasn't ready to fight. And so she got Dana Brooke to wrestle Bayley. Mick Foley said it was okay, so he made the match, and Bayley ended up beating Dana Brooke with the Bayley to Belly. And Bayley made her debut on Monday Night Raw. Pretty cool. Another NXT mainstays made it up to the main roster, and the WWE just continues to be restocked with all this great talent from NXT. And obviously they're going to keep coming more and more. And after that, we ended up getting just another squash match by Braun Strowman beating another fucking nobody. And I don't know about you guys, but Braun Strowman is obviously a beast of a man. They've got him like with this Goro look, like kind of like the old Mortal Kombat with that dude with like 6 arms and shit, and had that crazy ponytail. Kind of reminds me of Mortal Kombat. But Braun Strowman, man, obviously he's a beast, and he may be the man that can beat Brock Lesnar down the road. But Braun Strowman just continues to fight nobodies in the same way that Ryback did 4 years ago and just squashed them. I'm waiting for Braun Strowman to fight a couple of these, local wrestlers from wherever they're at. Traveling, WWE's traveling at the time, but this guy got beat in about another minute. Braun Strowman did the usual, did the reverse choke slam, pinned him 1, 2, 3. He even did the other finishing maneuver where he takes him up and brings him down. And for some reason, I'm not remembering any of the finishers tonight, but I don't know what to say. The Dudley Boys ended up coming out, and you heard earlier in the day that the Dudley Boys were going to say their goodbyes and going to retire here on Monday Night Raw. So the Dudley Boys came out, and they said that, it's been a great 20-year run for them, and they came back a year ago to become 10-time champions, and they weren't able to do it, but they made a valiant effort, and they'd like to say goodbye. And they said thank you to the fans. They had the fans stand up, and they clapped, and a whole crowd applauded for all the fans of the Dudley Boys over the last 20 years. I mean, obviously, they're a future Hall of Fame tag team. Most decorated tag team probably in the wrestling business ever. And the Dudley Boys came out, like I said, had that heartfelt farewell. And then out of nowhere, you had Primo and Epico come out. The Shining Stars of Puerto Rico came out, and the Dudley Boys ended up beating the shit out of them after the Shining Stars talked some shit. And then Bubba Ray and Devon ended up beating the shit out of the Shining Stars. Ended up giving Primo the 3D, and ended up giving Epico the what's up head drop, headbutt off the top rope from Devon. Just old school Dudley Boys. And it looked like they were getting ready to put Primo through a table, and then out of nowhere, Gallows and Anderson came out. And Gallows and Anderson came out and just started beating the shit out of the Dudley Boys. There was a table set up in the ring. They ended up giving Bubba Ray the Magic Killer, Devon the Magic Killer, right through the fucking table. And it was definitely a pretty harsh move. I don't know if Devon's prepared for those moves anymore. I mean, Devon doesn't look like he's ready for a WWE ring right now or anytime soon. But the Dudley Boys, maybe they haven't retired, apparently, from what I saw on WWE.com. They waved to the crowd as if it was their farewell. But maybe the Dudley Boys will come back as good guys. They were bad guys here for the last 6 to 8 months. So hopefully they might come back as good guys. Or else if it's the last we see the Dudley Boys, sayonara. Thank you very much for your service to the wrestling business. And thank you. I'm a big fan of the Dudley Boys. Even through ECW, WWE, TNA. And really glad over the last year they've been in WWE. It's just WWE's basically shit on them and hasn't given them any good storylines or matches lately over the last 6 months or so. So if the Dudleys are gone, it is what it is. But we ended up getting the main event of the fucking evening, and it was Roman Reigns, of all people, against Chris Jericho for the final spot in next week's Fatal 4-Way for the Universal Championship, and which includes Big Cass, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and the winner of this match with Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho. And it was probably the match of the night. Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho definitely put on a main event match. Again, it wasn't a terrible Monday Night Raw. Wrestling-wise, in the ring, it was just a depressing night with Finn Balor dropping that title after one night after winning it. And, it is what it is. But Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho had a decent match. And Roman Reigns ended up getting the victory after a cool spear. And then that's how it ended. So Roman Reigns is the fourth man next week. It's going to be Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, Big Cass, and then Seth Rollins in a fatal four-way for the vacant Universal Championship. I don't know about you guys who I'm going to pick to win right now. Obviously, they've got two main eventers in Roman Reigns and then also Seth Rollins. But you got Kevin Owens, who could be a great heel. And is he ready for the title? I don't necessarily know. I've liked to see Cesaro in the match, but Big Cass is the other guy in this match in the fatal four-way, which is pretty fucking cool. Never thought I'd see Big Cass fighting for the title this quick, but he's got all the tools. And 7-foot big man who Vince is a big fan of, and can definitely work in the ring, and is getting better on the microphone. But, do they break up that tag team of Enzo and Big Cass and just shoot Big Cass to the moon? Because if you ask me, after they put Finn Balor in the spot to become the first Universal Champion, they were trying to make another main eventer, to add to this, roster that they have on Raw, and they needed to do it. And now that Finn Balor is going to be gone at least 6 months, maybe more, they have to create another star. And maybe that star could be Kevin Owens or Big Cass. I mean, the future is now. It's the new era. Let's see what they can do. I think, obviously, AJ Styles, I've said it before, is going to be fighting for the WWE World Championship on SmackDown at the next Backlash pay-per-view and probably beat Dean Ambrose. But Raw needs another main eventer that they can put there after losing Finn Balor. And after the women's division losing Sasha today, it kind of wasn't that bad as they were replenished with Bayley. But again, what do you do after you lose Finn Balor? Are they going to bring somebody else up from NXT? I don't know if anybody's ready for that big type of, big type of push right now. But obviously Kevin Owens, maybe Big Cass would be. But if you put the belt back on Seth Rollins, I mean, what are you telling the man? I mean, obviously you're telling him that whatever you're doing in the ring is acceptable. And if you hurt anybody, you're obviously going to be champion anyway, so it doesn't really fucking matter. Just do what you're doing and forget about it. I'm a big fan of Seth Rollins, and it really fucking hurts me that I see him, jeopardizing his career by hurting other people in the ring. Bret Hart talked about this a few weeks ago on his podcast that he has, and Bret Hart talked about how these injuries and guys are getting injured and people are not taking care of one another in the ring. And one guy he brought up was Seth Rollins, and he brought up how John Cena's nose got broke to fucking pieces last year, like I said earlier in the review on Monday Night Raw. And then he almost killed Sting and gave him a spinal cord injury that he may never come back from. It looks like he's retired, as Sting retired at WrestleMania 32. So, and now Finn Balor being out at least 6 months or more could jeopardize his career or take years off it. So I'm not ready for them to put the title back on Seth Rollins yet. I think he's got to work with some people in the ring without hurting them. And Roman Reigns, you know, nobody's ready for that. It's just like we went on a giant merry-go-round, like a 30-second roller coaster in the WWE RAW brand, because they were pushing this brand new face, Finn Balor. You weren't getting Seth Rollins. You weren't getting Roman Reigns. The champion was going to be Finn Balor, and he was going to be a new made man on WWE television. And they ended up, you know, having to take it away from him because of injury. And now you got Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins right back in it. But you got two new faces. You got Kevin Owens and Big Cass in it too. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for checking out our video. We're trying to get better with these Monday Night Raw reviews and SmackDown reviews as well. But tell us what you think. We're bringing breaking news to you guys as soon as we get it on WWE.com and elsewhere. And thanks again for checking our videos out. Please subscribe if you have not. And please tell your family and friends. And then also like, comment, subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Tell us what you think. Tell us who's going to win the match. Fatal 4-way match for the title next week. These four men are going to fight for the Universal Championship next week. Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Big Cass, and Roman Reigns. Monday Night Raw, August 29th. WWE is getting ready to have one hell of a Fatal 4-way matchup. We'll see who walks out with the big red belt on the WWE RAW brand Universal title, Fatal 4-way. Super J and Mad Mike, thanks for checking us out. See you guys later.